Hey, Jason there. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. How's things in
Nova Scotia?
Nova Scotia.
Well, Nova Scotia's doing right down great right now. And
that's real good.
What you been up
I've been
to?
up to page 3. Up to page 3. What are you up to?
Page 2.
Good for you. You're one page behind me.
Yeah, I'll catch up.
Yeah. How's your car?
My car's not too good. Yeah, that's why I wasn't sure if I was gonna get to talk to you, but the car ain't ready, so I guess I can talk to you.
Oh, well, good. Yeah, that's great. It's actually quite interesting. How do I get to listen to your radio program?
I'll send you a link.
Yeah, keep me posted when you get others too, because I'd like to hear what the other guys have to say too.
So you've been in a Trooper and Winter's Green and Applejack?
Well, I was with Applejack, not with Winter's Green. So I was there right from the get-go. I'm involved on the first 2 albums and half of the Hot Shot album.
Ah, so you're playing on the Hot Shots album?
Well, you know, the interesting thing about that Hot Shots album is that they, when they put it out, that would have been, a little while after I left the band. So what they did was sort of an album of songs that had already been released, and so they used a bunch of the songs that I recorded, but they didn't give me any credit for it. So if you look at that album, you'll see pictures of Donnie, but you won't see pictures of me.
Is it still your bass track playing in it?
Oh yeah. For the first, for all the songs that appear on the first album, or first 2 albums, so that would be the Trooper album and 2 for the show album. All the songs that appear on that album, on those albums appear on the Hot Shots album. Those are my tracks.
And they remix kind of the Hot Shots album too.
I think they redid Boys in the Bright White Sport Car, but other than that, everything is the same as it was. Oversight on my
Trooper 1979, the album.
Yeah, but then that would have been the Hot Shots album, which, according to everything I've heard, is in one of every 40 homes in Canada.
When you go to a yard sale, you always see that record still there. You know what I mean? That's how much it sold.
Yeah, it's still selling, you know. Interestingly enough, the first album, the Trooper album, is now available on iTunes for the first time ever. They've been sort of keeping a lid on that album for years and years and years and years, and I guess they decided, okay, why not?
And why would they keep a lid on that?
I think you'll have to ask Ramon McGuire, I guess, exactly what happened there, but politics with the record label. And I think it has to do with the agreement with Randy Bachman and the record label and all sorts of other reasons they had. But now it's available on iTunes. So, but they're not going to repress it. So I think the only way that you can get that record is online.
Yeah, at this moment that is true. That goes with the other self-titled album they made in 1980.
That's right.
It's never been pressed again.
Yeah, I know, but that interesting that it doesn't cost them anything to do that. So, you know, all they have to do is put I think that's going to be the future of records anyway, is on iTunes. I think the more record companies realize that they don't have to really invest too much into actually pressing and creating and printing and shipping and all the other stuff, if it's easier to download, it's way more profitable for them. So I think that's going to happen a lot more.
Are you still in contact with the guys at Trooper today?
I haven't talked to them in a while, not since the, when did I see them last? Being at the memorial service for Doug Bennett of Doug and the Slugs when he passed away. Saw him there. Saw them at the Commodore, played with them at the Commodore at the reunion that happened in 2000, but that's a long time ago now. They're on the road all the time, so, you know, good on them. I wish them well, and I hope that they, you know, it's a hard life.
Did you ever imagine that Trooper would be going this far into their careers? You know, since
sure.
the day of.
I figured, you know, if it's sort of like if the the music endures. As long as there's a market for it, I'm pretty sure they'll do it. Because it was and is, always has been a real party band. So it gets the toes a tapping. So I think they'll be doing it for as long as there's an audience for it.
Did you ever headline for big bands or open for American acts and stuff like that in your days in Trooper?
Oh, sure. The first, let me think. Yeah, for the first two albums, we were lucky in that the band was lucky in that it had Randy Bachman as its producer, because at the time BTO was huge,
right.
And so in order to help Randy promote Trooper, because Trooper was his production, he put us on the road with his tours, and thanks to those tours, we got tours with ZZ Top. We got to play with all sorts of really cool bands, and it was really an education. It was lots of fun. So, I remember playing in New Orleans City Park, and the lineup was, there was Trooper, there was Aerosmith, Fleetwood Mac, Jeff Beck, and ZZ Top, and what a treat that was.
You get to meet the artists?
Yeah, you got to stand backstage and watch everybody do their deal. It was way cool.
Excellent. You ever played in the Maritimes in your days of Trooper?
Not in my days as Trooper. I understand they're quite popular there these days.
Since 1999, when they started making their comeback appearances back in Nova Scotia, they start grabbing the younger generation, the people that just turned 19 and stuff, and it just blew away. And a lot of people are very interested in Trooper right now.
Well, that's wonderful, because they are a worthy band. Brian Smith's a heck of a guitar player. They're real good writers, and the guys they're playing with now, Gogo and all the other guys are way cool. So they're keeping the the intent and the sort of energy that the band had well represented. So good on them.
Any bands you play with besides Trooper?
Of any real note?
Yeah.
Did a lot of theater since then, and a little bit of television and this. But at the moment, I'm playing bass with a band called The Epics, and they were sort of, they've been on the West Coast since 1964. So they've been around as long as the Rolling Stones. Except I kid them by telling them that the Rolling Stones did so much better than they did.
Yes.
They had a regional hit they had a regional hit in a song called King Size, which I think you may be able to find in the Canadian Library someplace. Yeah, I think it's a SoCan registered tune, so I think if you have the resources, Jason, so for your radio show, you should be able to find a copy of that thing and let it go. I think it would be under The Trials of Jason Hoover, which is what the Epics became back just when they recorded that thing. So they evolved from Jason Hoover and the Epics into The Trials of Jason Hoover, and that's, I think, the name of the band that the song was released under. But it's still Jimmy Harmata wrote the song along with Jason, and so they get the writer's credit. So I think it's registered under SoCan under those two names, Jason Hoover and Jim Harmata.
Excellent.
But it's a good fun band. As a matter of fact, if you check out the website, the-epics.ca, you can catch the upcoming gigs, and the band is enjoying, we've been playing again now for just a little over a year and a half, and so it's real old school rhythm and blues, and it's really fun to play with these guys, because they have the, that sort of old school discipline that rhythm and blues really demands. Right? So there's lots of separation in the between the instruments in the band. Like for the rhythm section does what it's supposed to do. The guitar just what it's supposed to do. The two horns. We got Don Leash and Tom Gould, who are really cool players, and got Barry Collins singing and Christine Best singing. Christine Best, in my mind, is she's one of the great undiscovered talents in Canada. She gives you goosebumps. She's that good. She
And you guys just tour in your region?
Yeah. Yeah, we stick around Vancouver a lot. These guys are, geez, now they're all in their, late 50s and 60s, right? So they don't travel much. But when they play, it's really something to hear because it's pretty darn good.
In your days with Trooper there, how big were your venues when you play your own show? Was it still clubs?
When we played our own shows. I had the luxury of playing with them sort of through the formative years. Applejack in the day was probably one of the most sought-after club bands in the whole of British Columbia. So we played every club, every high school, every auditorium around. Right? And then Randy Bachman phoned us one day because of Randy was at the time being managed by Bruce Allen, and Bruce Allen and Stan Feldman have had a long history together. So it was through that introduction, through Bruce Allen Talent Promotions at the time, that Randy found us. And I think it was for a Mormon church dance way back then. So he came and saw us there and was, I think, impressed with the way the band played and asked if we had any original tunes. And it sort of just picked up from there. Next thing you know, we're in K. Smith recording studios in Washington State, and we put together the first album. And then we, I'm trying to remember the name of the studio we went to in Ontario for the second album, too, for the show. But that's the album that Frank Ludwig joined the band in. But yeah, it was through all those years. Venues included everything from, the stadium at the PNE, all over the place. So yeah, Applejack Trooper was a really popular band around Vancouver at the time.
Was there much film crews filming you guys in those days?
No, as a matter of fact, I think the first film crews that came along for Trooper happened after I left the band, and I think they were recorded at an event that happened in Edmonton for the first time. I had gone on to a band called Teen Angel and the Rockin' Rebels at the time, so.
So there's no great footage with you in the band?
No, just great recordings.
Just great recordings. Do you recall the name change of Applejack to Trooper? What was the reason for that?
Yeah, we were playing, it was Halloween, I think in the year 1974, and we played for middle school at like 9 o'clock in the morning, and then the roadies packed all the gear up and took it off to another school for a noon hour concert. Then there was an after-school concert that we had to get to, and then an evening concert, so 4 gigs in one day. And as we were driving from one venue to another, Michael Wilmot, who was the roadie at the time, said, "What a bunch of troopers." And it was meant in the theatrical sense, T-R-O-U-P-E-R, trooper. But Randy Bachman said, "Oh, geez, everyone, I think you're saying troper, so why don't we make it T-R-O-O-P-E-R?" So Trooper became the name of the band. So the soldier image, the trooper or state trooper or whatever image you get from trooper, was really meant to be the theatrical sense of the word. In other words, what a bunch of, they just keep on doing the show, what a bunch of troopers. Yeah.
Very good little story there. Any good road stories?
Oh, geez.
Of the day?
So many road stories. Geez. Where to begin? Good road stories. I'd have to think about that one. They were all fun. The thing about that band was even, when you're on the road back in like when we were touring with BTO, you'd wake up, you'd jump either into the van or into the bus, you'd drive all day, you'd get to whatever venue you were playing at, you'd do a quick little sound check, you'd run up, you'd do your half hour, you'd go home and pass out for the next day, and then jump in the van and do it all over again for the next day. So it was pretty much just a lot of driving in a lot of United States and Canada.
A lot of driving, like 4 or 5 hours of drive?
8, 9, 10, 12 hours drive.
Wow.
And usually in the middle of the winter, too. So I remember driving into Chicago in a snowstorm one year and just being amazed at how many miles we had seen and how many different conditions we'd been on the road under. So, yeah, I actually got white line fever after a bunch of those years, where you see the white lines going through the window of the car, just wondering, geez, how long is this going to last? How long are we going to be able to survive all this road
to get to that next show?
Yeah.
And that lasted all your two years in the band as Trooper, I mean.
As 2 albums worth in the band as a Trooper person, another 2.5 years as an Applejack member. So yeah, I was with that band for a long time. But it was such a long time ago, Jay.
Yeah, it's time flying, eh?
Oh, yeah, and it seems like it just, there's parts of it that are vivid in my memory, and then there are parts of it that are just sort of blurs, because, like I said, you're on the road for you're driving around in a van for such a long time that you just go, ah. So it can be kind of exhausting, and so it turns into something of a blur after a while.
Are you ever planning to come play in Nova Scotia in your future?
Well, I'd love to, except we're a country apart at the moment. And, got wife, got kids, got the bear, so unless something wonderful happens for the Epics, I got my doubters. But I'd love to see it. I looked on the internet at Digby County there. Like, guys are in a lovely spot in the world. I saw the picture of you and Ozzy on the internet, on your Facebook deal.
Yeah, ain't that cool?
Very good.
Yeah,
very cool. No, but I did work as a stagehand at an Alice Cooper concert, and that was real good fun watching that happen. From a backstage point of view. So, yeah, it was great.
Excellent stuff.
Real theater.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I seen all the DVDs.